Welcome to ATP Customs. Well, today we're doing a water pump on my 2008 Dodge Cummins diesel 6.7, and I probably should have started filming sooner, but I wasn't actually sure whether it was a water pump or was it a hose that I blew or something. So what I believe happened on mine is you can see around the inside where the seal goes is all rusty. So what I think was I was driving my truck a little too hard, and clearly something wasn't happy. Yeah, I was pushing it pretty hard, so could be a little my fault. But I've had this for 5 years anyway. I replaced it about 5 years ago, and it literally just started puking coolant out of that little crevice right there and all over my steering shocks and everything. So I'm guessing that is the culprit. And I think all it was a bad seal, because it's all rusty in there. It looks like maybe it's been leaking for a while, and then I kind of pushed it to its limits, because the bearing seems to be fine still, spins freely. But now that I got it off, might as well put a new one on. So when you are doing a water pump in a Dodge, it actually isn't that big of a deal, because the water pump is only 2 bolts. They're 10mm heads on them, and I have to remove a little bit of my cold air intake, just the box and the filter, and then you got to take the belt off with the tensioner, which is down here. Now I could not get a socket in there, so I just used a pry bar and wedged it in there and got the belt off. Putting it together will be a little more interesting. I should probably do it properly. And then your water pump actually sits just underneath this pulley here, and it's just 2 bolts. Now there is one more 10mm bolt that's just above, so make sure you're not taking the wrong bolt out when you're doing it, because it's very difficult to see. But you can do this just by taking your air filter, cold air intake, whatever you got sitting right here, out, and the belt off. You don't have to remove anything else. I thought, maybe loosening these bolts off the shroud here was going to help. It actually didn't make a bit of difference. Might have got you a bit more clearance, maybe a ½ an inch is really all you get. But we're going to put it back together now. I just want to do a quick video on doing a water pump on the Dodge. Not a big how-to, just how simple it is. Because the first time I did it, I didn't realize that you don't have to take the alternator off, you don't have to take the shroud out, and I started unbolting stuff like crazy 5 years ago when I first did it. And then I realized it's actually a lot easier than people think. So yeah, Dodge water pumps, not too bad actually. I don't mind doing them. Now, I also noticed as I was messing around looking at these things, if you look inside there, you can see it was actually leaking just underneath the pulley somehow. So definitely a seal inside of some kind went, and it was leaking from both ends. So I guess it had to go anyway. And it's one of those things where you can't see it at all under the hood. You literally have to take it out to find out, is it toast. And this one does not have a pressure relief hole like the new one I got does. I believe they face down, not upwards. So maybe that would have made a difference too in if I was pushing it hard and my water pump had some pressure in it. Maybe if the pressure relief hole was there, maybe it wouldn't have went on me. But oh well, time to put the new one in. While you are doing your water pump replacement, for about 10 cents, when you pull this little plug out to drain all your coolant, what happened when I went to put mine back in, it wouldn't seal at all, and the little O-ring on there had a little bit of a snag, and it wouldn't seal at all. So it doesn't hurt to get a 10-cent O-ring for that thing, or even the whole plug with the O-ring is $5 or $6 at the parts store while you're getting your water pump. It may save you another trip to the parts store later on in the day. So thankfully I had an O-ring kit in the shop and was able to just put a new O-ring on, but worth getting one while you're there. And just a little tip for when you're trying to diagnose if it is your water pump. Both times that it's been my water pump, I've actually had coolant running around this particular area by your air compressor, your air conditioning compressor. So you'll see little drips of coolant all around here and down along here, and then it runs all along my stabilizer bar and everything. So that both times that was the tip that made me think it was the water pump. It runs directly down the block and starts pooling up and dripping all over these little areas. Now when you're putting the belt back together, I actually wasn't sure what hole to use on the tensioner or what size it was. It is a 1/2 inch hole, and the hole is directly across from the pulley that your belt spins on the tensioner. That is where the hole is for your 1/2 inch ratchet. This one, I happen to have a short ratchet, so I just put a snipe on it so I can get a little pressure, and you are going to push upwards towards the driver's side to get the belt on and bring the tension. The tensioner will go down that way so it loosens the belt so you can get it over. I'm just going to try and slip it over this top pulley. I'm not sure how other guys do it. And I do have an assistant with me, so that should make life a little easier. I have messed around with these belts, and if you have an extra pair of hands with you, is definitely going to save you a lot of time. So those were the tools required for the belt tensioner. I needed the snipe, the little snap-on ratchet which goes right into the tensioner, and the big bar that I wedged into the tensioner, and a third hand to get it done. Gotta have the third hand, it makes it nice and easy. So there you go, my Dodge has a new water pump. Hope the video helped. And hopefully my truck stays together and I don't have to do another how-to video on how to fix this thing. So thank you for watching, and I hope you subscribe.